Yeah, now we are recording. Okay, recording in progress. So for today we have 2 trainings on, and also for tomorrow I decided on a training together with Gisem that I hope will serve you in areas that you will step into or that you have already experienced, most likely, that are universal. They are not really specific to the choir world, but I have experienced so many of them, and also the clients that I work with, and they have a big influence on your path in the choir world. The first one is making decisions and setting your own boundaries and having a very big clarity on that. The second one is, am I now here in this? Okay. The second one is how to navigate difficult conversations, I like to call them, and make them something transformative, not something unpleasant and something to be avoided. And the third one tomorrow will be on the topic of managing money, because it can be very difficult in this field, which for a lot of people is very volatile regarding incomes. And I think most of you are on the path of becoming professional or already have started out. And I would have loved to know more about that 12 years ago when I started. And I want to share with you what I learned about it and how that could work for you as well. So now I have to see how I can, and why this for a group of singers and conductors. When I was still on social media, I made this post a few years ago, and in the choir scene we come from like originally from an amateur world, and there it's true that there is a choir conductor or a head of an ensemble, and he's the leader and everybody else is just following. But in the professional world, we all need to be leaders, and we all are on our own in a way, even though we come together to make music. And for me, important is, this is anyway just an excerpt, but for me important is this: to take honest responsibility. This will reflect back on you throughout your career, and it will also make the path or create the path that you want to walk, that you take these the responsibility fully, even if you're a singer, and set very clear boundaries for yourself. Otherwise, I have seen many to run into some kind of burnout or leave altogether or be very unhappy. So I think this is a very important thing. So this is just, again, an overview for you of the 3 workshops or 3 trainings, however we want to call them. And they are usually missing in musical education because we are focusing so much on the technique, on our instruments, on the repertoire and all. And I hope that it will fill some gaps for you now or later, or maybe also when you reflect back on things that you have already experienced, to understand them a little bit more deeply. Okay, so the first one. One super important thing is that the decisions we make, we will look into the fields of decisions that we get to make in this professional field a bit later on, but that we become more and more clear already beforehand, that we have some kind of personal rules on what will be a yes, what will be a no. Still, this is a work in progress. For me, it still is. Sometimes I run into requests that, I have not had before, and I have to try to figure out how to bring this in line with my own boundaries or my own vision also. So it's not something that we're gonna like set in stone today, and then you will take this forever. But I think we will. I'm sure you already started this and ran into moments where it was difficult to say yes or no, or to decide what to say. But we will maybe become a bit more clear. That would be one of the goals. What is this now? One moment. Why do you see anything on this? Why is it not showing? Ah, no. Okay. So today we will focus on clarifying what you want, yeah, how much you know about it already, and where is maybe still some blind spot, and what you don't want. This is sometimes even more important. There's this little story about Michelangelo making the David. Anybody knows it? Yeah, Henry, you're nodding. You want to tell it to the others?
Was it that the guy who he made it for had some criticism about the nose of the statue? Is it that one?
No, that I don't know.
No? Okay.
Okay, but that I want to hear later still. No, it is that one that he got asked how did he do that? How did he carve out the David from a piece of rock? And he said it was really easy. I just removed everything that was not David. And this is why saying no, I mean, this is a nice metaphor, I think, for how saying no can carve out what you actually say yes to, knowing what to say no to. Then saying yes wholeheartedly, I think this is really important. If you want to be seen and like requested as somebody, no matter if you're a conductor or a singer, somebody who is really professional and trustworthy, it's important that the things that you do, you show up with all you've got. And for that, it's important that you only say yes to things where you want to show up like that and where it's possible for you. And the other way around, saying no to requests without fear, which is maybe a lot to expect because sometimes it is a bit scary to decline a request. Because you might feel like you're missing out on something, or you are closing a door to maybe a future chance. So you might feel some fear, but to be able, or to know about yourself that you are able to feel that and still be okay with your decision. So the clarifying what you want and what you don't want helps a lot with that. Yeah. There will be a point where we will go into your own examples. I asked you already in the preparation email to think about where was it maybe difficult, or is it difficult right now? If you have never experienced difficulties, I would also be curious about that with making decisions. That will be rather in the end. And then we will reflect a bit on that together by what I will share with you now. For me, it is important that I'm not here to tell you what is your right decision, or what would have been, or what will be. And it's really about that I will hold the space for you to get more clarity and to give you a little bit of order and system into this. Yeah, and then I hope that the takeaway will be that you will continue or start to build your own decision-making matrix, I call it. I mean, it's like a list of aspects that you can put into relation to each other, which we will also look into. And then it's what I already said. It's always evolving, never fixed, but it will get a lot easier. And yeah, a tool for clarity and confidence, because also this transports, this communicates. If you can say yes to something with your full heart, or if you also are very clear on a no, the more I get clear on that, actually, the better my job life is. And it actually, for now at least, I'm knocking on wood here, it never closed the door if I said no to something, except to things that were anyway just a waste of time to even consider. So I hope that this will also be something that you can see and even feel for yourself. So for me, how it all started, and maybe you know this, in my studies, we had this golden gig rules thing, and it was a continuous conversation in the student body, basically, because also students, probably you also experience that, get requested for singing on a wedding and singing on a funeral and maybe doing some bigger gigs already. And these 3 rules were for us, and I would be curious to hear if you had something similar, were for us the other musicians you would work with, like, are they cool? Are they nice? Are they good? The second one was the repertoire, like what would we perform? Is it something that is easy, that is difficult, something that we feel like, yeah, we want to sing this or perform this? And the third one was how much was paid. And then the basic rule was, for these 3 factors, that 2 of them had to be great. If 2 of them were not good, then it was a no. That was like how we dealt with those requests back then. Anybody has any like personal memory like that or experience? No one. Okay, how does it work? Did it work for you? You just said yes to everything, or if it fits in the calendar? I see smiles.
Hi, Jenny. I will get it started. I didn't know it was a golden gig rules, but I came to the same conclusion. But unfortunately, it's rarely the case where the 3 are matched. But when
Yeah.
the 3 are matched, it's magic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, Bastian. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you didn't need to call it that. I mean, it's not a universal term. Will, yeah.
I would say that often it's the case that find myself willing to do gigs that don't pay very well or at all if it's good music and good mates. But plenty of the time I'll do music that do gigs that have they're not good music or with good mates, but there is money because I've got to eat.
Okay. Maybe not for answering now, but just a question to you and to all of you. Like, if you look back on decisions like that, where 2 of the factors were cool and 1 was maybe, nah, okay, compromise, not like the golden case that Bastien just shared. What was a long-term outcome of that? If you follow back the path, maybe that's also something to think about in the next days. And what was a long-term consequence of something that, for example, like the example Will gave now, gave money, but music and the other musicians were, nah, yeah. What did that lead to for you personally, but also for your path? Because that can be quite interesting, actually, what comes out of these things, and it can help also to set your personal rules. It doesn't have to be the same for everybody. Yeah. Later on, we added a few factors, especially in the professional life. Then, I mean, I got also a bit older, and it was not only so much fun anymore to travel for 9 hours to sing one evening somewhere and then go back next morning at 5 with with a plane or something. So another factor that became important for me was the distance from where I was before. Like, how could I get there? Was it super exhausting and difficult, or easygoing, nearby? And the fifth one became, for me, the location. Like, am I traveling 9 hours to Nantes, to Les Folles des Jolies, or am I traveling 9 hours to some random small village somewhere where 10 people sit in the audience? So the combination of location and how to get there. And then later on, I don't know if anybody of you has family. For me, something became very important because I have a son, that I could somehow either bring my family or manage something that I could go alone. So this became a factor for me as well, that this was not too crazy complicated, or that I have to talk in present is not too crazy complicated. Anybody here has already family? No. Okay. So this is maybe at the moment not so important. You're completely free still, and you can just go wherever you want, whenever you want, which is also nice. Okay. So these were the factors, or became the factors for me, these 6 things: other musicians, repertoire, payments, the way to some place, the location itself, and the compatibility with the family. So that's already quite a catalog. Anybody has any factor that never came to my mind that they consider when getting asked to do something?
Well, I have one.
Yeah, Lisa.
I also have like a triangle. One is, will I learn something from it? Will it make me grow?
That's great. That's great. I will write that down. Henry, you nodded. Was it the same thing you wanted to say?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's a bit inside of the repertoire thing, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, that's inside the repertoire, but it's also okay to separate it. I mean, if this is a very big factor. And later on, actually, Lisa, that you say it is quite inspiring for me, because you will have sung more and more and know the repertoire, and you will know more and more the conductors you work with or the choirs you work with, and it will get more rare that you can really learn something new. So this could be an extra 7th factor on my list too. That's great. Okay. Anything else? Not so far. Okay. Okay. So I was thinking when I built this training for you, how this is important, and why is this important, or why did it become so important? I just made a big mess here. I'm sorry. Okay. And I remembered a conversation I had with a very young conductor in a project that is also for young professionals, and I was there as more as like a mentor, and I was there with my husband and my son and my mom, because it was quite a long project and I didn't want to leave him at home for the whole time. And on the last day, this young conductor, he said to me that for him, this was like the most inspiring thing that we showed, my husband and me, because he's also a singer, how it is possible to combine having a family and sing. And I never thought about this before, because it's also quite, can be quite stressful and quite a hassle to fulfill this factor or this aspect. But then I realized that what he said is just one thing that he noticed, because it was also important to himself, of embodiment, like where you are and how you show up there, that's embodiment. Yeah. So if you go there and you take part in everything, and you are also a social being and fun, and you are super prepared, and you can be all that because you know your boundaries and you know that you said yes full-heartedly, that will embody, and that will be how people see you and what they see in you. This was quite a key moment for me somehow, to realize that. Oh no, I went back accidentally. Talk about it. No, not coffee break yet. I'm sorry, why does this not work with the... Okay. So setting one's clear boundaries and embodying them by was the headline. By showing up fully or not. So this is again also something that is embodiment, to not be there. We will now do it without the folio because obviously it's gone. This is important for a few things, for you personally, but also for others that work with you. So first thing is, the more clear you become on these things, and it's also totally okay to be clear on, if the money is right, I don't care. It will just be something that you have to realize you will embody, and it will, this kind of things will come more to your life, most likely. So one thing is this, knowing faster when, like, what is your decision if you're clear on these boundaries. Another thing is that other people get to know you more through this. Like, what is this for a person, for a musician? I know one conductor, and this is really like, how can I say this, a phenomenon to me, who knew from the first day of her studies what she would say no to, and she did. And now she is super successful as a conductor of professional choirs, because she always said no to everything that was not professional choirs. Yeah. And for me, myself, I had less sleepless nights. The more I know quickly what to decide. Of course, sometimes still, as I said, there are difficult decisions to be made that take a bit of time. But the more agile you become, the easier it is to, yeah, to decide and be at peace with it. We will talk about that also still in a bit. And the last, I didn't write this in my notes, so I have to browse my brain right now. The last factor that I found out to be quite useful, I said it before, but I will repeat it because it became important, is that gigs that you actually don't really enjoy, and you also don't enjoy declining, will become less. Like, for example, here you get a lot of requests to sing in a service for 50 euros or something, on a Christmas day. And like, just a stupid example. And I declined a few of those when I was clear that this is not a joy for me. I rather spend time with my family. And since then, these requests I don't get anymore. Somehow it's, I don't know if people talk about it. I don't think so. I'm not that important. But it's less decisions coming to me, actually. Less decisions that I don't even want to make, or feel like just another email to write. So these are I find the really positive outcomes. Anything else that comes to mind? Also maybe some negative outcome that you are now like doubting or feeling a little bit hesitant about being very clear with your own aspects. Anything you would want to add here? Yeah, Alberto.
Yeah, so I was thinking now about personal values. So, for example, when you know who is the organizer of the concert or the festival, and you really think that the work that they are done is promoting a better musical environment, they pay well, they do interesting programming, then maybe it's okay to say yes, even if the conditions for you in that moment are not the best or you don't have the time. But yeah, so personal values, I think it's also another considering thing.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think this is already a little bit building a bridge to the second one, because saying yes, like partly because of your personal values, but also knowing the conditions for you are actually not right. That's a very good example case for initiating a conversation that might feel like, okay, this is difficult because it might destroy something, or yeah, it might lead to a negative outcome for myself. So let's keep that in mind for the second part. It's very valuable. Okay, so I made a little list that we cannot see in this wonderful presentation of fields where you will have to face decisions in this profession. Of course, we all face decisions from morning to evening. But I mean now really just separating the professional choir field. Like what I already said, requests for like this one specific project. What else? Let's make a list, and I will add the things that I will just stop this so I can see you all better.
Could you repeat the
You can also
question?
write in the chat. Yeah?
Could you repeat the question? I didn't really get it.
Yes, sure. So what are even the things where you will have to make decisions? Like I just talked about getting a request now. Okay, can you come in June 26th to Cologne and rehearse for 10 days and sing 5 concerts all over Germany, and you will get 50 euros per day. Just as an example, this is like daily business for freelance choir people, which some of you might become or are already, and maybe the majority even. Then what other fields are there where you could make a decision on the path where you are at right now? Lisa.
Yeah, I think for me, often it's about auditions, because I used to just not think about it and go, but now there's actually a lot of time and money involved. So I always try to ponder, do I really have a shot? Do I actually really want to sing there? Is it worth spending so much money? So yeah, that's always a bit of a brainer.
Yes, auditions. I had that also on my list. Thank you so much. What else? What else are you asked to decide on? Or you might be, I mean, maybe not right now, but
Master classes?
master classes, sure. Also, there is a money factor definitely, and then teacher, other people, location, how to get there. Yeah. So one might be a fixed job, like after you've gone to an audition. It doesn't necessarily have to be an audition for a freelance choir, but maybe you actually get a job offered. And not, I mean, there are many people who don't even go to the audition if they're not sure about the job, but maybe sometimes it's interesting to go to an audition and you just want to become a freelancer substitute somewhere. And then they say, okay, you want the job, which would mean you have to move, and they will test you for 1 year and you have to think, do I really want to sing in this choir in this city, and so on. Yeah, so that might happen to you also as a conductor, getting a job offer. It might even happen without audition. Yeah, also seen that happening, that you get a call and they say, okay, why don't you take over my choir in 3 years or tomorrow. And then why I actually came up with this training right now together with Gisem was one participant in Berlin. He asked, because he had started an initiative for his own project, and throughout the building process, it turned out to be financially really difficult. And his question was like, how do I decide when to stop and to interrupt and say, no, we're canceling this because I don't want to pay this out of my own pocket. This is a very complex decision process where it's really good if you have, before you start, some kind of boundary set where you say, okay, if I have to invest half of my savings, we are canceling this, or 10% of my savings, or anything, or, you know, or if 3 people of my team jump off, or if this particular person is not on board. Like this, if you set up something by yourself, you don't have to necessarily be an employee of some organization. Like Mantas, he has his own ensemble, and I guess there is also some questions sometimes. Do we go through with this? Do I go through with this? I can't imagine. I mean, I've had 3 different ensembles, and this was definitely a question every here and there. Yeah, so I think this is mainly it. Maybe we will run into something more when we come to your personal examples. And now, before we do that, before we dive a little bit more into something concrete, I wanted to collect more densely what it means to say yes wholeheartedly. I mentioned it before. And then also to collect a little bit if you say no to something, or if you cancel something. What can be consequences? What does it mean? And yeah, eventually, that's the bigger picture, of course, and we cannot fully cover that today, but eventually, what does it mean for your personal path? Yeah, the saying yes wholeheartedly, saying no with or without fear and FOMO, and then bringing this together. So let's start with saying yes. First, is it easier to say yes or no? Maybe you can write in the chat. Now, no matter the factors, just what comes easier out of the fingers or out of your mouth. Yes, yes. But no. Depends on who's asking the question, of course. Yeah. And what are the conditions? Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. I think in general it's a very normal, or yeah, it's very common that it feels better if you can say yes. Then even if you are following your own guidelines and they tell you, okay, you have to say no to this, that's still, for most people, of course not for everybody, more uncomfortable. Which is why often there is a tendency to rather confirm stuff because it feels more inconvenient or uncomfortable to decline. Okay, but let's start with a yes. So you can just unmute yourself. You don't have to give a hand sign. I think we are not 100 people, so it should work out. What does it mean for you if you say yes wholeheartedly? If you really know, I'm doing this.
Well, I think that first of all, you have to give space and time for that project in your calendar and your personal life. I think that's very important to say yes beforehand, to know that. And also to know that artistically you have something to say about that project. I think that's also very important, at least for me. Even if it's, I don't know, like very classical repertoire or things that have been done like hundreds of times, just to say, okay, but let's do it in some other way, or some with these new people that have never done it, or I don't know. Yeah.
I think there is also a very strong personal motivation to do it. I think with whom you're singing, in which place you're singing. I think that's also very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
Committing to it and taking it seriously, being in it with what you have and can offer.
Mm-hmm. You might have all heard this before, but we never jump into the same river twice. So if you say yes to something, at the same time you say no to 1,000 other things or more. And I think that what Guilherme, is that how I pronounce your name?
Yeah, Guilherme.
Guilherme. Okay, thank you for correcting. Said this personal motivation. This is like, it's such an important point that if the no's that are behind the yes are too big, that it cannot really get so radiant, because it's something that transfers. Yeah, somebody comes somewhere motivated, we can see that as human beings in the face, in the posture, in the voice, we can hear it. And if all the things we had to say no to are, yeah, in the way of that, that is also something that transfers. What else? You can look at it from all sides. What else does it mean to show up with all you've got somewhere? You can look at the complete big picture or into the tiny detail. Doesn't matter.
I think there's also, I don't know if you can hear me well.
Yeah.
Ability to compromise, because I feel like as people, we come from so many different backgrounds, with different goals, with different ambitions. And I feel like sometimes in groups, especially that are formed kind of on a whim or like a student project, the main difficulty is finding common purpose and like understanding that I'm not here to show myself off, but to collaborate with other people. And I think like this is just very evident when people are open and willing to do this, and when there's like a kind of a clash happening. But I think it's just again a matter of perspective and also showing up, which means like if I say yes to being there means I say yes to being there with these people and working on this common project, common music together.
Yeah, thank you.
I think, yeah, it resonates a bit with what Montas just said, but I think it's being open and being positive, because sometimes you're in a project and you have singers who have done this a lot and they're a bit over it or something. I think it's a shame. I think you should try to start every project with new energy and be positive, even if sometimes it's tough or you don't get what the conductor or the director wants from you, but just, yeah, try to be open in the moment and do your best and not get in this negative spiral.
Yeah. This is why I think what the biggest reason why I said wholeheartedly yes to doing this trainings with you also in July, because you are all still in this, let's start this with new energy. And I think it's good to know, before I said this also in Berlin, that this is something very precious, but also fragile. Like if you come more and more in environments where people are just repeating and they forgot to set their boundaries and to do things where they can actually bring their energy, then this is also a bit contagious. So it's good to know this from the beginning, to not wear off your energy that you all have, yeah, which was also in Berlin so obvious. Yeah. Okay. We will step over to the no. And yeah, I think today is about planting some seeds, and maybe you will observe even more consequences of saying yes wholeheartedly, inside yourself, around yourself, long term on the path. Maybe also, which I find is very important to have in mind, for the whole this choir field, you know, the more that the people who practice this and who are professionals in this show up wholeheartedly, the more success it can have, because this also radiates to the audience if we stand on a stage with all we've got and give ourselves. This has some kind of superhero factor for people who see that and who hear that. And also for this, it's important because this is the source that feeds us. Yeah, and we have to take care for it as well. With, yeah, not falling into some kind of strange routine feeling and attitude. Okay, consequences of saying no. What, let's say, even if they are the no is completely aligned with all your values, with the aspects that you take into account. Also positive consequences, of course, we talked about them a little bit already, but now it's maybe a little bit more about this, what can feel uncomfortable about it.
Not helping that person out who asked.
Mm-hmm.
maybe another one is that the person that offers this job feels that you are saying no to the person and not to the job. So you don't get future opportunities, even if they are very different.
Well, it also means no income.
Yeah, as long as it's a request with an income, definitely. Yeah. So it's a question, maybe even if you can afford it. If you feel you can afford it, that will maybe become, or hopefully, more clear even tomorrow.
But maybe there can be also like a positive outcome that you can get more money if you say first time no. Because sometimes there might be some organizers that try just to get it, to keep the lowest possible fees for singers and choirs, but they could pay more. So just to know, have that information beforehand could be useful.
This also asks from us a big trust in ourselves and our expertise. To say no because the payment is not what we would say yes to, and still trusting that we are so good that when they can pay more, they will ask us again.
And also, I think this is related to what you said before from the motivation for projects. So there can be projects that main motivation is money, so you are more clear on what you want or not. And then others can be more connected to your values or to what you think you have to do or you must do because it's good for other things, for community or for education or whatever. So then you can be more flexible and understand also the other part.
Yeah. Also saying yes to something because of personal connections, values, your idealism, because you want to help somebody. But there's no payment is something you have to be able to afford. For example, because in that time, if you get another request that pays you something, you are then already booked.
Yes, I think that can be the difference between people that maybe have already some kind of fixed job, and then they complement that with freelance options, rather than 100% freelance person that maybe have to say more yes.
Yeah. Any other consequences of saying no possible, or some that you already experienced maybe?
Maybe if you say no, you lose an opportunity to meet some new people. So some different things come later from that, or I don't know. Maybe it's an opportunity for something else. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I think one very obvious thing that hasn't been mentioned is just you have time for other things, and that doesn't have to mean other projects, but it could also mean just having spare time or recovery time or time to prepare the next more interesting thing that's coming up. So it doesn't always need to be the question, do A or B? It can also be something
Absolutely.
very else. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the other side of that coin. If you say yes to something, you say no to 1,000 other things. But if you say no to something, you say yes to 1,000 other possibilities, which is actually very comforting, I find. That if you say no, it doesn't mean you will sit on your sofa and be bored necessarily. You can come up with your own thing, or you can maybe fill the space with something that comes later. So it can be very door opening, actually, sometimes as well. Okay, are we any further? It's really a complex thing, and it's very personal. So let's dive into a bit more personal experiences already, or a situation that you are facing right now, where you are about to make a decision. And we will maybe just go one by one, so that you all get to speak. Mantas, do you maybe want to start? I just have you here on my screen in some kind of order.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat exactly what what the question was?
Yeah, so we want to dive a little bit more into some personal experiences where you had a difficult situational decision making, or maybe you are in one right now, to see what are the factors, and to also that everybody can learn from everybody else's situations, because next week might come up already something similar for somebody else.
Personally, for me, in the last at least couple of years, there was always this debate between, am I working with amateurs or am I working with professionals? I'm coming now more maybe from a perspective of conducting, because there was a time where I was only working with amateur choirs for like 4 days a week. But there came a time where I felt like this was not serving me anymore, although I could, in a way, pay my bills with that. I started to have a feeling that I just really don't want to do it anymore. And then I had these thoughts of like, oh, but maybe I'm just a horrible musician because I don't want to accept these jobs. But it really showed me that it's just, I mean, getting paid is great, but like, at which point do I say that this doesn't really serve me, and that making music is something actually very essential, and it's not always possible to do it in a way that I would like to with amateur settings. So now I've actually completely stopped working with amateur choirs, and that gives more time to just focus on things that I want to do also as a singer. But yeah, that was just personally, yeah, where I kind of struggled. But it made a difference, I think. Yeah.
I'm sorry, my internet was here a little bit. I hope it works now. Mantas, if you said it, then don't repeat it for me. But did you say how you came to this decision? Like, what was the moment where you said, okay?
It was really like a gut feeling. Like when I started going through rehearsals, kind of like forcing myself to do it. It's really, I mean, we all have moments where you're like, you don't feel like it, or but when it becomes constant, you really have to stop and think like, okay, what am I, what am I actually doing? And where is this leading me? And I have all this energy, and do I really want to put it all here? So it's really about also, again, restricting in order to have more for something that you feel like you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Probably, I mean, I'm just assuming, and you can of course also say no, but the gut feeling, and that's a question for all of you, often comes from a long time of considerations of having positive and negative factors. Like you said, okay, that was money, but it was also not the level I wanted to work on. And then at some point, the gut feeling switches on and says, okay, no, it's a no. Like it is actually the result of a rational process that's maybe not all the time conscious, not sitting down and writing a list or something, but
yeah, it's kind of like back and forth of like 2 to 3 years actually. So it's a very long process, but yeah.
Thank you for that. So the next one here on my new, completely new order of the screen is Maria. Maria.
Yes, for me, I think the problem I have starting to have now, it's like with the distance that Lisa said before, because I'm in that point. At the beginning, I was like, I was up for everything, like I searched for every audition here in the Netherlands or around. So yes, I think that now when I have some projects with from that auditions or something, I'm starting to choose more. Some of them, making a choice. This is kind of difficult for me because, of course, of the cost of them or what we said before. And then the next step, I think, is how you face up all these projects now, and with your time and with because at the beginning, of course, you said yes to everyone. If something appears, you're like, of course, for a little project, unpaid project or something, because yeah, I think this is this for me, and now I need to choose some of them, and yeah, I think these things that we said before. I need to focus more to them, all these 5 things that we said. So yeah, I can choose some of the projects or auditions or all of this. I think I'm in that point now.
Yeah. I'm just reminded that there were a few years ago, I did a webinar with 2 colleagues on how to choose the choirs you want to sing with and how to decide if to do the audition or not. I will find the link and paste it to you via Gizem. Because of course, auditions cost you time and they cost you energy and they cost you also
time for preparation for everything.
Yeah, and every choir asks you something else.
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's not like you take the same repertoire from last half a year. And of course also money. And on the other hand, there are investments, like if you make it and
it's experience, of course, as well.
Yeah, and you might be asked for projects that pay you back 10 times what you invested. So, and it's really difficult, I think, to just out of the blue assume if they will take you on or not. So this was big part of the discussion back then. Like, how do I find out if the chances are a bit higher than with another group? maybe because it's a fit like musically, or I'm really a chamber choir type. Should I go audition for a big radio choir? Is it likely that they will take me there? Or is it likely that I want
worth
to
it
work
or
there?
not? Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So I will paste you that link because I think this
Yes, that's really interesting. Yeah.
it's good to look at all the possibilities there.
Yeah.
And for now, for you that you're in this decision process, and you said that you want to look at these 5 aspects a bit more, what do you think is the one that you would put on the like in the focus?
I think for now, I need to focus more in yeah, so of course some paid projects, because this is something that I want to do it more here, like as a job, of course, and then to go in some ensembles or choirs or whatever, to meet people and go more to that network, let's say, because I'm kind of new here, so I really want to be in that yes, in that field, let's say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jenni is frozen again.
Yes.
Let me write to her to make sure that she knows that she's frozen.
Hello again. I'm sorry, Maria. Can you just say it in one word? What is just for me that I know what's
Yes.
your answer? I'm sorry.
I said that of course I want to have more paid project now, so this is one, and then I want to meet more people because I'm kind of new here, so I want to get in more in this field and this network. So these two, I guess, for me
Perfect.
now.
Then you have already a little bit more clear guidelines
Yes.
what to say yes to. Perfect. Okay, Alberto, and I pray that I don't get kicked out again.
Yeah, so in my case, I also want to give some context because I work for university full time. So actually, I already have a full position. So I am conscious that this gives me some space for freedom in a way, but also some responsibility, high responsibility on when I say yes or no, because I also think that if I say yes, for example, to some offers where the conditions for the musicians are not the best, that can also impact the freelancers that will do this job also maybe for a lower. So I am kind of being in competition with different conditions, right? So I try to keep also this in mind when I say yes, especially. Yeah, so mainly I normally have to take decisions about where I do things with my choir and speak with festivals about, of course, money, but also, of course, repertoire and conditions in general of accommodation and things. So you probably have experienced this, that, okay, the orchestra will stay in a hotel, but the choir will go to a youth hostel or something like that. Or this kind of externalities, or for example, we have a rehearsal and the instruments have a seat, but the choir has to stand for the whole rehearsal. So I find that lots of moments where I have to say yes or no, the decision comes from these all, let's say, externalities of the project that I have to take into consideration, and also trying to put to think about what is the impact the day after that I say yes or no, both for myself, for my group, and also for the ecosystem, let's say, at a local and also more global level.
Okay. So your own security and future is not so much at stake, but you know that for the whole. And like, is there a moment when you feel torn to say no because conditions would be bad for freelancers, and that's why you say no, even, or the other way around?
Yes. For example, I can bring something more specific. I was asked by an orchestra who had a choir to be leading rehearsals there, and they knew that I had a fixed position in university because it was in the same city. So they really wanted to pay like, like a student, like 20 hours per hour rehearsal for conductor, something like that. And I said, this is not possible. You are a professional team, and even if this gives me, because they were argumenting that of course you will be in the orchestra, and this will give you a lot of promotion, and you will get other opportunities and all this kind of very poisoning arguments. But of course, I can see the externalities, and I said no in this specific moment.
Okay, and then just for others that might stumble into a similar situation, how do you deal with this being torn? You just kick it aside, or what do you do with that?
Sorry, what was the question? Sorry.
Yeah, when you decide for either yes or no, but it's not really, like, you feel a bit torn with it, with this decision that you have to make.
Yes, I mean, you don't feel like hundreds okay with it in the beginning, because you know the negative externalities, as we were speaking about. Also for your individually, like, okay, like maybe these organizers will tell other local organizers that they should not call me because he's a tough guy in this kind of things, and he will say no, or he's not nice or whatever. And but at the same time, I feel that because this was like some years ago, so now I feel like I am doing the projects that I really want to, that I am not helping to, that I am trying to make an impact for the more ecosystem, let's say, on a long term where I live, and to try to get choral music considered more professional in a way, and I think it's also a process that we have to think about.
Right. Okay, Henry.
Yeah, in the last semester, I've been studying and working at the same time, and had also offers to join my professor as an assistant, which is not paid, but it's great learning, of course. And it was just a point where it was at the limit to everything being too much, just workload wise and sleep wise and all the traveling and everything. And that's something I find very difficult to maneuver, because often you have to say yes or no well in advance. So it's very hard to know how you will feel in 3 months and how your batteries how much they will be charged or not. It's always easy to say no if you have something else, but if the slot in the calendar is free, but you say no because I want to rest, that's something that is way more difficult for me.
But did you say yes or no then to the professor and the assistants?
I said yes several times, and no one time after I got sick. Yeah, so a bit too late in a way.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what I meant with burnout, or yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a proper burnout, I think, I hope.
Yeah.
But so it was,
Yeah,
was only
of course.
a short thing. But yeah, it was, in a way, I felt like, okay, this was one thing too much. And it wasn't necessarily this one project specifically, it was just the sum of it. It could have been everything else as well.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. That's why I said it. So I don't mean with burnout like the psychological term necessarily, but some kind of, you cannot take well enough care of yourself maybe for too long time and get sick in another way, or at least don't feel fit and energetic as you used to. Yeah. So if the calendar is empty and there's requests, it's even more valuable to have your personal factors in place. Because the empty calendar is a very bad advice giver in the long run, definitely. Yeah, because the empty calendar is also some kind of fear fire. If you look at it and you think, oh my God, nobody wants me, I will not earn anything, and yeah, maybe the good things come one day later, or the good things come out of your head because you have the space to do that. Okay, let's take one more example and then we go into some little break. Who has something that is maybe completely different from the things that we heard already, or similar, but the decision-making process was different?
I think after I had a burnout, it was really easier to say no after this, because then you rethink things and then you see your priorities. And then for me, it is like I always evaluate if it's taking a me time or a quality time, or how much of my personal space I'm giving for a project or for a trip or something like that. So nowadays my decisions are based more on, is this thing it's gonna make me healthy or unhealthy, and it's gonna give me problems in the future or not. And of course we are afraid to say no for some projects, etc. But for me at this point of my life, I try to prioritize my mental health and my well-being, and then I had to say no already for two nice projects that I would love to do it, but it was like 2 months on stop, and then I said I cannot afford this. So, and I think I'm at peace with myself because I have seen the consequences of doing everything, especially like Maria said, when you are a foreigner in a country and you don't know the scene and you want to be known and you want to make connections, and so you say yes for everything, but it might come with a cost. And I learned a big lesson last year, and yeah, now changed my way of thinking about projects and say yes or no.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the health factor, mentally or physically, is also not, you cannot overrate this, because yeah, we all know how important it is to be healthy anyways, and in our job especially. So this kind of priorities also, of course, play a role in the decision making, for each one differently. Health and inner stability. Then at some point, family, maybe for some of you. For me, that was a real game changer in how to set my priorities, for example. So yeah, and this is totally good. This is good that you figure out more and more your priorities. Like Mantas also said, I want to make music on this super high level, and it doesn't serve me if I am going to another field all the time. So it is nothing to hide. That's what I want to say with that. And maybe even, and as a bridge to after the break, the more clear you are about it, the easier it is also to communicate this and to be understood, or also to understand the decisions that other people make, because they have their own set of priorities. And this is this is part of the difficult conversations, or could be, but I think it's good to find a way to make these easy, and even something that we're looking forward to. For example, you pulled yourself out of stuff for your own well-being, but you also at the same time want to be part of things. That's again, like Alberto's other moment with the values, that's again a moment where you can like share that. And it's not a black or white thing. So we will look into that after a break. We started a bit later and we finished now a bit later. So let's say we start at 11:15.